Welcome back. Bond Factor on a not only amazing week politically, but also an amazing day as a Friday wraps down the week. I continue to share photos from Southern California because I believe they're sort of amazing. Welcome back, Bond Factor. And the reason we're listening to Soundgarden's Drawing Flies is kind of simple because, I don't want to be somebody who speaks strangely or anything, but the whole scheme of what we've seen is drawing flies to me. This decade-old idea that we're going to just continue to let the government completely corrode and dictate what we're going to do through executive orders and other thing. The idea is drawing flies. Welcome, everybody. Bond Factor. You can see a beautiful picture out here tonight as the sun sets here in SoCal. And I'm keeping the fight here going because a lot of people think that we're crazy out here, right? We're just drawing flies, but I'm gonna argue that we're not drawing flies. It's the establishment. It's the people that just seem completely unreasonable. And if you just keep an eye on Donald Trump's, rallies that take place every day, you've got 30, 40,000 people standing in the parking lot, people unable to get in. And when you're that active, you don't draw flies. When you sleep in bed during the day and do about one or two staged events a week, maybe that's what they're talking about. So anyway, welcome back. I want to go ahead now and talk about something that maybe is not the most important thing, but Bill Clinton has drawn many flies in his closet, and I want to go ahead. It would take me probably a week to tell you everyone about all of these people. So what I want to do is just sort of walk you through a list of, I think, around, what do I have here, about 10 people that I think Bill would probably like you to forget about. And as you digest these people, I want you to think also about, what if this was Trump? In other words, like, okay, you've got a salt and a pepper shaker, right? So Trump is one side, and Hillary and Bill are the other. And maybe even just forget about Hillary for a minute, although she does come up in this information. But maybe take Bill with a grain of salt then, and we'll call it 2-1. Here we go, people. I think, have you ever heard of Roger Clinton Jr.? Okay, this is, Bill's half-brother. He was serving time for cocaine possession. After he served his year, he was pardoned from Bill Clinton. And all of his criminal records, okay, cocaine possession isn't that bad, but he was expunged on all of that. Look it up. Roger Clinton Jr. And again, now we're going to do that salt and pepper shaker thing where, what if Trump had done that? Okay, let's move on. Paul Jones. A lot of us know who she is. She sued Bill for sexual harassment, which made him have to testify before a grand jury. Okay, so here's a direct lawsuit for sexual harassment. I do not believe there's been one of those for Trump that I know of, but maybe someone can correct me. Let me know. As far as the information I have, when Paula Jones testified and before that grand jury, it was a first for a sitting president in the U.S. to actually have someone in a grand jury testify. And if it wasn't a first, if I'm missing something, it could have been at least one of two or one of three. But an amazing sort of cycle going on here as we move forward. I'm going to go ahead and mention now someone who maybe you've never heard of before, Eleanor Mondale. You ever heard of this person? Well, you've probably heard of Walter Mondale. He was vice president, and he had a daughter, right? She was sort of an unnamed receptionist during the White House sort of administration that surrounded the Clinton administration back when Bill was president. And a Secret Service agent came out speaking about Eleanor Mondale one time and said that he used to stand outside the Oval Office, and regarding, the people coming and going, that he would see Eleanor and Monica Lewinsky sort of commonly coming and going, for a period of months, and in Monica Lewinsky's case, even longer. So don't just trust me, Eleanor Mondale. And you've heard of Walter Mondale, right? So for the people that aren't as old as me, I'm kicking almost 50 years old here. Look back to that information. It's very important. A notable, too, is on December 19th, 1998, Bill Clinton became the first president impeached. So what a lot of people don't understand, and I was hanging out with a friend of mine just the other day, and we were arguing about, well, was he impeached? Was he not really impeached? Well, he actually was impeached, but because of the impending evidence, he actually ended up committing perjury when he denied things that went on with the Clinton Foundation. So what he sort of did is not resign, and the time ran out. And so the definition of whether or not he was impeached is interesting, because to actually be impeached is not exactly the same as resigning or firing or getting kicked out. You can almost be impeached and still remain for the end of your term in a strange way. So I would implore you to look at that again as a notable, just sort of against Bill Clinton and his sort of regime. Juanita Broaddrick. I almost wish I had a tape to play. Dateline NBC. Does anybody remember Juanita Broaddrick? I would implore you again to Google her name if you don't believe, but she alleged that Bill Clinton had raped her decades before. So if I don't even go on with the story at this point, does anybody remember anyone actually coming out and saying that Trump raped anybody? No. He mentioned the idea of grabbing someone, or how much the women throw themselves at him to where he doesn't have to do anything because he's a millionaire or a billionaire, like a Tiger Woods or somebody who has money, and the females come after him. So anyway, when Juanita filed, she was mysteriously and then sort of audited by the IRS, and the charges were dropped, and that was never really made public. Probably some kind of IRS scare tactic / payout. You could argue maybe the Clinton Foundation or somebody paid Juanita Broaddrick at some point at that point. And of course, right on the heels of that, you have Monica Lewinsky, which again to me is just a no-brainer. But for those who were half my age, this was a very public affair with Lewinsky. There's claims that there was a blowjob in the White House, and there was a harassment claim sexually between Lewinsky, and things came out all during that. And Jennifer Flowers, who is an absolute porn star, talked about how Paul Jones, Jennifer Flowers, Monica Lewinsky, all these people, and as it moves more to them, went to places that were known porno places. We're talking about things like Eyes Wide Shut here, folks. So I don't want to give you too much to digest, but I'm going to bring up one more name in the Iron Fist sort of Friday night list of jerk-offs. And we have Sidney Blumenthal, campaign manager, advisor to Hillary, big part of her campaign. She actually wanted to hire Blumenthal, back when she got elected Secretary of State. Obama refused. There's a lot of controversy there. If you look back at the Obama-Hillary, controversies then. And he actually was behind the Benghazi issue, and it was his idea to come up with the idea that maybe there was a leaked problem or something within her time during Secretary of State. So I would almost recommend that you just Google Sidney on his own. We'll throw that paper out as we do here on the Factor. Forget it. It's not believable anymore. The people are upset, and I keep, diverting from the main topic here, but the topic of the evening is the corruption, the fight. Donald Trump is absolutely fighting everybody. And what's kind of fun to watch is the pundits keep telling you, oh, if he would just change his tactic, if he would just, he needs to come off a little more different this week. And then BS. And as a final note, I was riding with my son, my 13-year-old, the other day, going to his school, and it's about a 20-minute ride. And he said to me, isn't this interesting? Trump comes up every day, and the pundits and everything continue to talk. And I've never seen such an onslaught, such an obvious attack on a man as what's happening to Donald Trump. It's unbelievable. It's apparent. And so the other day I had to turn off Fox News because their spin has even changed. This is all bets are off for the establishment. I mean, if they can't, all they have to do is win this battle and Hillary takes over, her regime takes over, and that's going to be it. This is sort of like, 85% of your fears are already happening. So keep that in mind as we move forward. I don't even really know what to say after that, but just think about it. I mean, you don't have to like Trump. You don't have to like his personality. And what you need to do is look at the issues and look what's going on. And it's staggering. Maybe staggering is a good word as we try and figure this out. I think I agree with most people that it's an amazing time in our life, but it's also scary, a very scary period of time, because the people are out there to get us, and we have to break that reality, that rusty cage that we live in, that we're used to, that we've been, survived in for years. I'm going to let Soundgarden talk about it. We'll be back. Cruise Radio, Bond Factor, right after this.